In this video, I want to talk to you about the culture matrix. I did talk about the culture matrix in a previous video, and if you want to go take a look at that one, the link is down below. In this particular conversation, I want to simply talk about the culture matrix and how you actually make transition within this matrix. Let me do a quick review of this matrix. So we have two axis lines, one going up and down, one going left to right. This one has to do with the amount of invitation, the amount of support that is in a particular culture. So low invitation would be there's a low amount of connection and support. High invitation would be high connection, high support, high relationships. On this particular axis point, you would have low challenge. So this is that whole area of accountability and that challenge to be your best and grow and so on. On this side, you'd have it's a high challenge culture, lots of accountability and support to be your best self. And in the four corners, in the four quadrants, you have four different realities that would happen, four type of cultures that would be created based on what you had. So in this corner, if it was high challenge and low invitation, you'd have a stressful culture. People would be discouraged in this culture. Too much accountability, not enough support, not enough relationship. Over here, you'd have low invitation, low support, low challenge. It'd be a boring culture, no accountability, but also no strong supportive relationships, apathetic culture. In this corner, you'd have high invitation, lots of support, emphasis on relationships, but a low emphasis on accountability and challenge, and it would create a cozy culture or a consumer culture. And then in the top right quadrant, with a high challenge and a high invitation, high emphasis on support and accountability, you would have discipleship culture and empowered people. So when we look at Jesus' ministry, he very much lived in this quadrant as he developed those who were following after him. He lived with them. He did life with his disciples, but he didn't mince words. When they were stepping out of line, he was able to challenge them and call them to account to live differently than maybe how they were living. But they had both support and challenge. Now, the question is, if you're in any one of these other quadrants, out of the three quadrants, assuming like me, that I want to be in this culture. I want to be making disciples. If I'm a part of a community, I want my life to be lived making disciples, more of them who are reproducing themselves as followers of Jesus. So if I'm somewhere else, how do I actually move? And if you're working with a congregation that is somewhere else, how do you help them move to a discipleship culture? Well, it isn't about announcing that we're going to be that way, depending on where they are. You don't stand up at the front and change the culture. It looks more like this. You acknowledge where you are. You have to figure out, first of all, where you are. And let's just imagine that you're in this cozy culture, high invitation, but there's been very little accountability and structure to people's growth. Well, to get here, you don't go straight across. It looks more like this. And there will be created this disturbance. And it's not unlike what William Bridges talks about in his 3 parts to a transition. There must be an ending. So something must end. But you don't go from an ending to a new beginning. You must go into this messy middle. And he calls it the neutral zone. I think you could also call it the grown zone. There has to be a struggle because people are letting go of practices and moving into new practices, new behavior, new beliefs, new ways of thinking about it. So that's what's required to go from one culture to another. You must have an ending, a messy middle, and then you can experience a new beginning. You have to know where you are, make a conscious choice about where you want to go, And then ask the question, what is the pathway to get there? This is one way to think about the pathway to go from a culture that you're not satisfied with to a culture that truly will be this discipleship culture where people are empowered to live and be their best selves for Jesus. Thanks and have a great rest of your day.